Hi, it's Miss Pritzl at the Appleton West Library, and I'm book talking a book I would have to call a suspense thriller. A lot of places classify this as a mystery, but I know from reading books that most people who want mysteries want like a detective or some person following the clues to solve a crime. There is a crime in this, or there is a death at the beginning of this. There are crimes that take place in this, but most of the action doesn't happen till the end of the book, and there's no active investigation of it. Really, it ends up being more of a payback situation in a way, trying to make the responsible person pay in some way, if not legally. So it's called The Truth About Keeping Secrets, and it's by Savannah Brown. And so our main character is Sydney, and it starts out where Sydney's father has just died in a car crash, which the police cannot find any reason for the car crash, like what caused it. Did he swerve because of this? Was he texting? Were his brakes cut? They don't know. And so she's really in grief, and the fact that there's no investigation into this, part of her thinks like somebody did this to her dad, and like, why would somebody do that? Well, her dad is the only therapist. I think he's a psychiatrist. He could be a psychologist in there for miles and miles around, because they live in a small Ohio town. So her dad has a lot of people's secrets. And so Sydney's kind of dealing with that. And during this time, she is making friends with June, because it turns out June was a patient of her father's. So June kind of reaches out to her because she's also dealing with the loss of this person who was helping her through some issues. June is kind of the golden girl, and she's supposedly has this perfect life, perfect boyfriend, that I think one's valedictorian, she's valedictorian, and like cheerleader, all this stuff. But usually a lot of times there's stuff going on behind that person's life that we aren't always aware of. Now, Sydney has been really bullied at school because Sydney is a lesbian, and she has definitely developed a crush on June, and we don't know if June really reciprocates this or not, but like I said, they become friends because of June's relationship to Sydney's father, and they're both grieving that loss. So there is an action scene at the end. It is a crime, what's going on, and there is a person responsible, and the author doesn't, let's just say that the person responsible will probably never face criminal charges. So I do have to like this sort of the way Sydney and her friend make this person pay for things that were done, not just in this end action scene, but for the fact that the person probably caused Sydney's father's death. So I don't want to give away gender or anything like that. So, like I said, I enjoyed this book, but it's told in first person, so it's told entirely from Sydney's point of view. So it's like, I did this, I thought this. You're really in Sydney's head, and so it seems a little slow moving at the beginning. And like I said, Sydney gets a little obsessed with June, which I was kind of like, like, this this is not gonna go well. And there are like all these rough patches, but like this action scene at the end, I don't know, I felt like I should have guessed it and I didn't, so I guess I liked that about it. So it was a good book, but for those of you who want that crime that somebody's actively trying to solve, yeah, that's not quite happening in this. Even though part of Sydney thinks that somebody caused her dad's death, she's not actively pursuing that angle of inquiry. So, okay, once again, this is The Truth About Keeping Secrets. The author is Savannah Brown. And like I said, it's a good suspense thriller. But once again, very much in dealing with grief and being in Sydney's head, dealing with this grief, and then part of that grief is dealing with the crush that she's developed on June and things like that. So, but when you think about it, a therapist has a lot of people's secrets, so there's a lot of stuff going on. So, all right, if this is not your cup of tea, I will help you find something else. Have a fantastic day and keep on reading.